Hi guys, welcome back to SSA Athletics. And after watching Jakob Ingebrigtsen's 1500 metre world record and also the 3000 metre world record, he's got me inspired to go for a run. Well, actually no, it was part of my training because I'm injured, but side note, not important. We're going to be looking at the 3000 metre world record, reacting to it and see why he was able to run so fast. So I haven't seen this one yet and I'm looking forward to it. I've deliberately, even though I posted up something, I deliberately didn't watch it so that I can get an honest reaction here. So we got a split race, and this time we've actually got cones out to denote where they got to go around. If you've got a lot of people in the race, you don't necessarily have enough lanes to start them. So what they generally will do is have people in the outside lanes a little bit further forward, and they have to run around the outside and then brake at the brake lines. The everyone else has to run in between the yellows, and then you can finally brake later on.
Understand, Jenny, that wave-like technology is set at world record pace.
But in indoor races, it's historically quite tight. Big fields often mean a lot of pushing, not a shoving, so don't be surprised when you see that, especially if the pace isn't that quick. I doubt it, because this is a world record.
Understand, Jenny, that wave-like technology is set at world record pace.
So the utilising wave-like technology was a new thing that really helps pacemaking out a lot easier, because you can see where the time roughly is. You don't necessarily have to rely on the stopwatches, although they still do. I mean, it's quite a meme in the distance running community that doesn't matter what electronic timing is, I'm going to rely on this clock. Yes, there are reasons why they have stopwatches on, maybe they can set paces, that kind of thing, but the wave-like technology really eliminates most of that. Also, if you notice from the front, the guy who's a pacemaker has pushed his finger out. He's ordering what he wants to see that would help the athletes behind him run quick times.
7:24.9, which has stood to Daniel Komen of Kenya since 1998.
After all, that's a good pacemaker. You're there to help everyone else run fast and being paid quite well for it.
A great brewer from that same year. So what an era of athletes we've got.
14 laps. Boom, boom, boom. Of course, guys, we won't be going through the entire 14 laps because of flow sports like to block everything even when it's not in their region to block. We're going to try and do the best we can, and we're going to cut a few bits out because I don't think you want to be sitting here for that amount of time.
And we'll be following the pace all the way through this race. They're set up to try and go through 1,000 metres at 2:29.
I'm dancing. I want to see this.
Sonek is then going to carry on to 1,500 metres in 3:44.
We're hoping that Elmo will still be going at the 2,000 metre stage, 4:58.
And as you can see, they're starting to spread out already within the second lap. Easily starting to spread out, so they're not going to be too much pushing and shoving. Eventually, I think you'll see 3 or 4 maybe cut to the front. That's including the pacemakers. That would help those guys get around, get a much more clearer line, make it a lot less frustrating, a lot less pushing, and make it a much cleaner race to get those world records. Usually these happen with fast races.
And the world record figures, as you've already said, Chris, 7:24.90. Daniel Komen. Let's keep an eye on that throughout this race.
As we get back to this men's 3,000 metres, we can just see the pace has slipped marginally. It's still, I still say slipped, it's still 7:26, which would probably be the third fastest time of all time. Okay, so Paul Radcliffe mentioned the third fastest time of all time at this current stage. That's if they were to continue running at that pace. Naturally, these boys got quicker.
If these men can keep this up, and let's look at that time at 1,000 metres. It's bang on the pace that they asked for.
Yeah, they're aiming for 2:29. Akbash, the first of the pacemakers, has now stepped aside.
Okay, so the pacemakers dropped out, allowing the other pacemaker. Normally you would have 2 pacemakers in a race. And what the idea is, you have one guy at the front, potentially he's a little bit quicker, but may not necessarily have the pace. The other person's either behind or the side, giving them a nice clean air for that athlete to run through. So what happens is, if you're running alone, you get that dirty air, and you basically create a disturbance in the air. The other athletes behind them gets pushed into that air, making them run faster. They use less energy, and they have less resistance against them. So what you can do is have one athlete, another athlete, to give them a much greater block. And if you're moving together as a block, the whole block moves quicker. Naturally, it's going to be harder for the person at the front. What you can do alternatively is have a couple of athletes around the side, giving them more block around the side, making the air disturbance a little wider, pushing them forward a bit more. Normally you do that though on a windy day, not necessarily indoors on a day where it's quite still, the temperature, the weather. I love these shots. Who keeps filming them? They're great. And again, the foot shot. That's with athletics. We don't often have unusual shots. They're usually set aside, and it's very hard to tell what's going on. Especially as you can see here, 3 or 4 men wearing exactly the same vests. Usually, when they're sponsored by the same company, it can be quite difficult to figure out what's going on. So another pacemaker's dropped out, and we're on the third pacemaker, Elmer. And Girma's really had a good... You can see he's very got a long leg stride, but it's a lot easier for him to run, and he's not really pushing it, to be honest.
Who will take them through to 2,000 metres. Now Girma, followed by Fisher, and then Katia, and then comes Balu of Bahrain, who's come forward. He's in the top 20 all-time with his performance as well.
Girma and Katia are really trying to push away now from the rest of the pack, and they're doing a good job. Can they hold it? It'd be interesting to see.
One of the athletes just taking a bit of a wide course there, as they came round into the home straight. So at the moment now, it's Katia, the one as Girma puts the hammer down, and all of a sudden Grant Fisher is coming under a bit of pressure. It's a bit on the sharp side for him, this Grant Fisher, over 3,000 metres.
The other guys really aren't keeping with them at all. So Grant Fisher's really the standout guy of this indoor season. Going through the collegiate sports system and is coming out strong. And is probably going to be a contender when it comes to the outdoor season. Maybe.
Bang on the money still at 2,000 metres. They wanted 4:58. It was 4:58.38. And this is all about Girma now.
So generally in your races, in the long distance races, they wind it up. So they gradually get faster and faster and faster until about 300, 400 metres. They're hammering it down, trying to win the race.
Not only have we got records and world leads in mind, we've got a race still on at the moment.
Time list when he followed home Wale and Barega on this very track 2 years ago. But Mohamed Katir at the moment, the world bronze medalist over 1,500 metres, the European silver medalist outdoors last year, the Spanish record holder, isn't going anywhere. Girma and Katia still right on world record pace. That world record that's just celebrated its 25th anniversary.
So the world record they're talking about is one of the barriers in athletics. It's one of the barriers in athletics because it hasn't been broken for 25 years. Komen had a indoor world record that was seen almost as untouchable until recently. Ingebrigtsen is probably the most favourite to break this world record, although he didn't run the 3,000 metres at this event. He ran the 1,500 metres where he broke the indoor world record. I know a lot of Americans will be watching this and thinking, hey, what about Grant Fisher? Well, outside of America, Grant Fisher's not really seen as the guy who would break this world record. All the hopes were pinned, including World Athletics, who wrote multiple articles on Ingebrigtsen, being the first to break this world record. As he stated himself, he wanted to dethrone Komen from that world record.
Katia was really trying to get some oxygen in, wasn't he? He was doing some heavy breathing there.
Yeah, but Katia always looks like he's breathing hard. It's his natural way of running. It's not very a telling way of how he actually is.
Less than a minute's worth of running between them and one of the longest standing world records in track and field.
Look at all the people on the track trying to cheer him on to break this world record. That's amazing. You don't get that at other events. Normally people aren't allowed to do that. Look at the cameramen! Oh, no. That's really, you don't normally see that. And you see people are standing in the crowd wanting to cheer this world record. This is amazing for athletics. You never see this. So Katia is really trying to push on. Really different styles of running. Girma's really bouncing his run. Katia's a lot more driven, a lot more power in between each stride. So they've really got two different styles of running. And it's interesting. Katia's got more cadence, but Girma's probably got a longer leg stride. Here they go. Katia's really trying to push on to use it. He's going to try and get round him. Here we go. 1 lap to go. 200 metres. Katia's really trying to push it on, but Girma's not going to allow him. Here we go. Another athlete on the track cheering him on. You rarely see that. I know you usually see it at the pole vault events, but you never see that in the track events. Everyone's against each other. This is amazing. Amazing camaraderie. Come on.
To go.
That time to watch
Oh, they're
for
so far. They're so far against his world
7:24.90.
record.
Still a chance with
Come on.
100 metres to go.
Oh.
Lamecha Girma from Ethiopia looking to keep the record in Africa. Striking again into the home straight, leaving Katir behind. 7:24.
That's the first. No. 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 Hi, Dad. Wow, that is amazing. That was utterly amazing. That you don't know. See how important that race is. You got a guy here who's above the world record massively, and he came second. That was amazing. You rarely will see a race like that.
He's going to do it! Wow! Lamecha Girma of Ethiopia!
And because the guy's got such a lanky style, it doesn't look like he's actually sprinting Girma, but he actually is. This is amazing. No, you don't run like that. Because he's so tall, it looks like he's running slow, but he's not. And you can see him driving on now down that back straight. The arms are going probably a little bit too long, but that knee drive is really good from Girma. And he sprints across the line. That's what you got to do. Wow. So you're understanding, Katir got the European record for that. And was still within that world record. That is crazy. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Smash subscribe. Check out our Facebook pages. If you want to join us at our athletics club, you can come down on a Monday and Wednesdays where we will train your children, either teenage years or under 11s. I'm Adam McCarthy, and I will see you in the next one, and I'm still in shock.